So I added grenades to my arena shooter where weapons don't do any damage, they just knock enemies back. Last time we added some traps, go check out that video if you haven't seen it, and next time we're gonna work on enemies. I added 4 grenades, a normal grenade, an ice grenade, a black hole, and a nuke. When you're holding a grenade, it has a preview of the arc it gets thrown at, and you can see this from third person too, so you can see where your teammates are going to throw grenades. Basically, the way the grenades work is that the view model handles the preview, and then when we throw the grenade, the view model will spawn an exploder object, and when the exploder explodes, it spawns an explosion prefab. That will handle knockback as well as sound effects, particles, and a decal, which will fade out after some time. Alright, let's go over each one. So the normal grenade is a model I stole from Kenny Assets. It lasts for some time and then explodes. I actually toyed around with the idea of making this stick to surfaces, like that one clip of Caboose in Red vs. Blue.
That was the worst throw ever. Of all time. Not my fault. Someone put a wall in my way.
I ended up choosing to have it not stick to surfaces since all of the other grenades explode on impact.
Hasanabe Doctrine, a guide for nation building. Rule 1, get nukes. Rule 2, do not give up your nukes. Rule 3, if you're accused of having nukes, drop everything immediately and find some nukes.
Okay, so I also added a nuke. This model is also from Kenny Assets. It's actually a modified rocket model that comes from the rocket launcher. When the nuke explodes, there's a bunch of particle effects and there's a light which fades out over time, but you might notice that one thing is missing. There's no mushroom cloud. I couldn't figure out a good way of animating a mushroom cloud. I probably could do it, but it seems incredibly hard to pull off, especially in a performant way. The amount of knockback is crazy though. It's basically a round ender. It's also a great thing to pair with a decoy. The only issue is that the nuke does something kind of f***y with the parachute, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. If we ignore just how physically inaccurate all of this is, I added a black hole. I got the black hole shader from this YouTube video, and it works perfectly. When the player throws a black hole, it'll open up, pull enemies in, and shoot them out in random directions. The black hole has an open and close animation, and it wobbles a bit when it's idle. There's some dust particles that spawn in and spin around it, and there's an ambient sound when you approach it. I think the black hole is so freaking cool. I got the sounds for this and the ice grenade from a Humble Bundle by Ovani Audio. I hope I'm saying that right. I got a comment on my last video and it saved my ass. They recommended a Humble Bundle, which is a massive audio bundle and actually has another audio bundle inside of it. At the time of this video going up, you have exactly 48 hours to buy it if you want it. If I knew about it sooner, I would have recommended it sooner. Also, this isn't sponsored, I just wanted to shout it out. Now back to the black hole. The black hole, like all of the grenades, does discriminate. Only enemies are going to get pulled in. This is because I was too lazy to get all the physics interactions working with the player controller. So because of this, you can just walk into a black hole and you're fine. Funnily, if you put a black hole on top of a decoy, you can absolutely decimate a wave. Alright, the last grenade I added was an ice grenade. You can throw it at enemies and it will freeze them for some time. Again, I got the shader from a YouTube video and it works very well. I especially like the refraction that you can see through the ice grenade itself. I whipped up a silly little model for it, which honestly has too many polygons for what it is. It's pretty nice to pair with the black hole since it freezes enemies in place and you can just start shooting them in random directions. You can also freeze enemies on top of spikes to make sure that they get hit. To wrap things up, I priced everything in the shop. I think the prices are fair. Rounds give $15 dues plus additional money bucks or whatever the f I'm calling it really, to each player at the end of every round. Round enders like the black hole and the nuke are more expensive, but most items can be bought after a round or so. That's pretty much it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Next time I'm going to work on enemies, and then after enemies this game is pretty much done. I have to do some polish work, but then I can move on to greener pastures. Finally. This was only ever going to be a functional prototype. It was a distraction that I was working on while Castle Wars was blocked, but I have decided to port Castle Wars to Godot, and so it is pretty unblocked at the moment, and now this is distracting me from that. So the Godot port actually ended up distracting me from this project, which is a distraction. Okay, alrighty. If you want to see how I implemented traps, go check out this video. It seems like a bunch of people missed it. Other than that, I'll see you next time. Peace.